Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Nav.it Files. I'm Maya here with Erin. Hi Erin.
Hi Maya, hi everyone.
We're so excited to be back with you all today. I endlessly apologize for looking the way that I do, and also with like a heap of nonsense behind me. So these bookshelves were ordered like 3.5 months ago, and they finally showed up yesterday. And the reason why I'm
Yay.
like hell is because I got a stomach bug yesterday when these things arrived, and the guys wouldn't even put them in the house. They're like, the note says that we have to leave them in the front door, so we're leaving them in the front door. And I was like, I'm so sick. It's like 10 degrees outside. Can you please put them like just in the hallway? And they wouldn't do it. I'm having a day.
Wow, that was a day.
Anyway, so I apologize for everything that's going on behind me. Erin is on her way out to go speak in an event. Erin, why don't you tell everyone what you're talking about tonight?
Yes, I'm so excited. So there is a group here called Grapevine, Grapevine Women, and it's just this awesome monthly group of women and interesting careers, young women, older women, looking for connections and support for life, careers, mentorship, etc. And they meet monthly, and then they're having a panel for female entrepreneurs. I think there are 6 of us, and we're going to talk about our experience and talk to young women. And it's sold out.
Is it?
So, yes, I'm so excited. It's like fully sold out. I tried to get someone on the list, and she's like, "Sorry, we're out. We're at capacity."
Oh no, that's kind of
yeah. I'm really excited. Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited to see the recording. Everybody go follow us on Let's Nav It so you can get real updates of Erin, because our queen of social media,
Yes.
Amanda, will be
Bless
there
her.
documenting every single second of the experience. We're very excited. Today, we are going to cover a little of our self-love topic. And I, of course, have a great one because I died yesterday, as Erin knows.
And yet you're back.
And yet I have made a miraculous recovery. I feel a little bit like Jesus today.
Yes.
And
we're so happy.
Yeah,
it didn't take 3 days. It was just one day.
Thank you. I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, so my self-care topic was, this is so ironic. So as if you watched us last week, you know that I had friends here for like 4 days this past weekend. And during that time, one of my girlfriends that was here, I don't know how this topic came up, but we got on the topic of getting sick. And I was like, I only get sick once a year. I just power through it. Like remote work really allows that to happen. I mean, I'm not doing like the most creative, I obviously talked myself up, like not knowing so, but typically do power through it. And I knock on wood, don't get sick. I must have told her that on Sunday. Monday evening.
Karma might you. Try and go with before a fall. We're on a religious bent here.
Literally, I mean, what the hell, Maya? So I'm sitting there. So I had all these meetings yesterday morning. Yeah. And I was like, screw it. Of course, this was like my highest volume of meetings during the week was on Tuesday. Screw it. I'm gonna get through all the meetings. And I told Erin this morning. I must have just I had such a high fever that I somehow powered through it delusionally. I cannot tell you what we spoke about in those meetings yesterday.
You seem very lucid, I have to say. Good guessing.
Thank you. So finally, at noon, I was recalling that conversation and coming out of delirium. And I realized that I needed to put my computer down and not send an email that was complete gibberish. So that is my self-care. Sometimes you just need to admit defeat.
Yeah. Admit that sometimes you get
defeat. And turn on a Lifetime TV show or movie and just sit there in agony. And that is what I did.
And you felt better today.
And now I feel great. Yeah, I slept 12 hours. I went to bed at 8. And here I am. So that is my self-care. I think but it truly, again, as we talk about the changing environment around work and flexible work, I think, sick days aren't really a thing. Now having really, actually, but today was the day we moved to Sun Valley. but I've now worked remotely for over a year.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my point of that conversation with her. It's like, I don't do that because you can always work at home.
Yeah, you can't just like take time off with like it's such a blessing because you can go do all the stuff you need to do during the day that you typically wouldn't be able to, but there isn't like clear day off, like other than, I guess Saturday and Sunday, but you have like, yeah, there's no time to be like, I'm out of the office or I'm sick or I'm like, even holidays are a little bit hard, right? Like it's a different world.
Totally.
So you have to be much more conscious of when you turn off.
My new like test to myself, if and when I do get sick again, is gonna be like, if I can't thoughtfully answer an email, turn your computer off.
Yes.
Like, it wasn't helping anyone being sick yesterday.
Yeah, you were highly functional on the calls, but I'm glad that you were.
Yeah, but again, I think that was
away.
And then, like, total demise happened after those calls.
Right.
I literally had to call John and be like, I don't think I can take care of myself anymore. You need to come home.
Yeah, like I'm dying. Yes, it's not okay. You were sick. Was
anyway.
it food poisoning?
No, I don't think it was actually food poisoning. I think it was this 24-hour stomach bug because Krista, one of the women that works with us and I share an office with, emailed me this morning being like, I think I'm sick. I don't think it was food poisoning. And then John, now having been at work today, he called me and he's like, so many people are out. So many people have this crazy stomach bug that's going around town. His cousin.
But it's 24 hours?
A lot worse than me. Huh?
It's 24 hours?
Well, no, I mean, I think I got a mild form of it, but like his cousin's been out for over 2 days and can't even stomach liquids. Like I was okay. Like in the grand scheme of things, I had like a fever and like body issues, but like I survived. Like it doesn't, like some people sound like they're going to the hospital.
Okay, hashtag coronavirus. Y'all better get that shit checked out.
Well, you were the one that was supposed to look up the symptoms of coronavirus.
Yeah, that's technically not, but you should still go. It's more respiratory, but still.
True, fair enough. So I'm just gonna keep talking, I guess. Yep. Because since Erin's been prepping for this great event tonight, I'm going to do the finance topic. So everybody hold on to your horse. I don't know what that saying is anymore. Yeah.
Hold on to your horses? No?
Horses? Yeah, whatever. But we're going to talk about joint accounts. So in the theme of love, it's the week of Valentine's Day. I actually get this question quite a lot, and also then have this question quite a lot for myself. We've talked a lot about prenups. We haven't really talked a lot about when you should start to merge accounts. We're going to be talking about this next week on our podcast episode that launches next week with our financial friend and badass financial advisor, Jen Zapel. But until then, I'll give you a little teaser on joint accounts, what the situations are. So you can have a joint account for like basically anything. You probably know a joint account is most often thought of as a savings account. So like for instance, you open a savings account, you both have joint access,
right?
Everyday norms, right? I think a lot of people, actually, I don't know if a lot of people know this. Let us know if you knew this. You can also have a joint brokerage account. So you can also set up like some kind of index fund or some kind of brokerage situation where you can both have access to and similar liabilities. Yeah. And then from that same perspective of liabilities, you can also open up a joint credit card, which I feel like we think about, maybe like parents know more about this. Like once you become a parent, we've talked a lot about like gaining credit early, having basically like a co-signer or an authorized user, basically, right? Like your kid could be an authorized user on your credit card.
Right.
But I don't know, for some reason in my interactions, not a ton of people actually know that you can have a joint credit card account where you can both be joint accountable holders.
Yeah. And purchasers and hopefully payers at the same time.
Well, and so payers, so this is my point. And yeah. I think it's an important one to note, like as we've kind of harped on credit for quite some time, and that's because it seems it's a relevant topic in our world right now. When you open up a joint account, you as a joint account holder, you and your partner have the same level of credit liability, right? So it will impact your credit scores. Maybe not the same based on your existing credit history, but it will impact them.
Right.
At, but you will both be impacted, if not
Totally.
at the same level, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, I like talking about this topic because I think it's like an interesting one to suss out. From my personal experience, we set up a savings account to like pay joint bills and things. And I think I'd love to know like other people's strategies around this, because we set it up right when we moved here. For some reason, I mean, we lived together for years, but for some reason we hadn't done it until this point. And we never used it. So we closed it. Like it basically, drained $10 out of our account or something because we never topped up.
Oh, interesting.
And then we just never used it again. But a lot of like our friends in Europe use it all the time. I don't know. I guess like as an author, I was an authorized user maybe as a kid, but I don't think that there's ever like a cut and dry situation where you need to open up a joint account anymore because of PayPal, Venmo, like all of these. What's the splitting app where you can split expenses now? I don't know.
Again, I think of Expensify, but that's not what you're talking about.
No, it's not Expensify. It's like I'll look it up and put it in the show notes. But I think it's like, for instance, Kate. Sorry, there's a lot of things happening. Keaton's not like an authorized user on a credit card yet, right?
Oh God, no.
Right.
I don't know. I guess you can be. I don't actually know the legality of that. If you can do that, you can be an authorized user probably as a young person. But I think the point is, when do you use something like that? And I think it's you're totally right. It's totally up to each individual partnership, whatever that may be. Like in our world as a business partnership, if we haven't needed to, but if there was a time where you were traveling a lot, we'd just get you another, a card in your name, and then you have that. I think what ends up happening that's interesting in partnership is if one person has a lower credit score than the other person, it is to their benefit to get a joint card, because the other person's high credit score helps get more access, right? It helps the other person build their credit. So there are games that you can play for a credit score perspective, but also just like, how do you want to split your expenses, right? Like if you want to have a credit card that you both just pay off, or you pay off, one person pays it off 1 month, one person pays it off the other, whatever that is, like it's how you guys manage money together. And what serves your purposes. Or if it's just like a joint credit card that only pays your utilities, you just set up all that, that kind of stuff. It's just, it's an interesting game.
Well, and I think even to that note, like most, I imagine, utilities companies now have direct deposits. So like it's not, and they'll split those direct deposits. So I think that the joint account conversation is ironically almost going away, or maybe it's starting to be limited to those who have less access to credit, like children or people with alternative circumstances there.
Or if it's like one person's not making money and the other person is, or there's a difference in income brackets, right? Because like if you have a certain cost of living as a couple that one person couldn't sustain individually, then sometimes that joint account is useful for purchases and for to redistribute the wealth into the expenses that you have as a couple.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, the most interesting one that I find is the brokerage accounts. I think that's often something that's not discussed, but like, I don't know if I would do it like if you had 2 kids, but certainly like you and your partner, it makes sense to maybe explore different alternative investments, for instance, in a joint account capacity.
Yeah.
If you have similar interests, or if you're getting into the investment game outside of your like traditional Roth or 401ks or whatever, like I think,
and
it's almost kind of fun, right? Like we talked to Jordan, so like our podcast last week, we talked to Jordan about almost gamifying your spending, and it would be kind of fun to gamify your investments, right? Like you had a joint account, it was like an equal pool, you were both responsible for it. It would help like facilitate conversations around wealth. And you'd kind of get like a little peek into, what each other finds interesting, why so, like it kind of becomes like an educational game.
Totally. And a place to talk about. Totally. I love it. And from a like inheritance planning, it's much smarter to have someone on your account if there is some sort of death in the family, because then that person has immediate legal access to it and can manage it, as opposed to having it be in your name and then have that person being the beneficiary and having to go through all that process of getting death certificates and taxes and all that stuff. Yeah. So there are a lot of like in that world, when you're growing wealth as a couple, there are a lot of benefits to the joint accounts.
Yeah, I think this is something that we will continue to explore. Again, we're going to talk to Jen about it a bit next week. And I think that will be a great insight to get from her more professional perspective. Yeah. But from my layman's everyday average Joe perspective, I think it's an interesting one to explore if you go at it with that with that mindset in mind of like, this is this cool thing that we're going to do together, and we're going to like learn about the process together, rather than I make more money than you, here's your allowance, have the card, because that can really, like, that kind of partnership can really lead into financial abuse. And there are so many different qualifications of financial abuse that, you and I are learning about as we're starting to write more about that. And I think that I really loved Jordan's approach last week of like, make it fun. Like, you and your partner are supposed to have a fun relationship of all aspects of your relationship.
Yeah.
Even with your kid, right? Like, maybe your adult kid, if you want to open a joint brokerage account, like that would be a fun thing to explore too, because then you could learn from each other. Presumably the kid would have like a plug-in on the newer technology lens, and you might be like the old industry dog. Like that would be cool, right? That would be a cool intersection of thought.
Totally. And I think that I love what in this, like, I think we are trying to change the narrative around money. And I think historically the kind of inherited narrative that I heard was a little bit like, after college, kick you out, you're on your own, like, go sort yourself out. And I really think the changed narrative now is like, we're all in this together. We can learn this together, and like getting your kid a credit card, or talking about investments earlier, or just like you said, like even adult children, when you all of a sudden are like, I just talked to a young lady whose father had made it big in the entrepreneurship world, and he's getting her into angel investing she just graduated from college, because he wants her to learn in a safe way. It's small money for him, but it gives her, like, it's passing the torch, right? And even just like all of us talking about it becomes, you're not alone in this, right? There's this, like, it's all shared knowledge. We're all functioning in the same system. So we can start talking about it and kind of playing with it and making it fun, just like you said.
Yeah. And I think that this is, a lot of people talk about like, oh, well, if you go to an index mutual, whatever, like you're investing in a large pot, right? So you're not necessarily picking stocks, but you're picking a path towards your like financial growth and stability, depending on like what path and, the amount of risk you're willing to take on. And so like, I think even if you are invested in, say, a mutual fund, you should still have, keep a level of weekly insight into what the markets are doing, how they're performing, what new actors are coming onto the stage. Like, there's so much more opportunity now with robo-advisors and whatnot to automate your investment process. And let's just make sure that we don't let automation take over our own like peace of mind.
Yeah. And where I hope the industry goes, and actually it's going to be really fun to talk to Jen about this on our podcast next week, is you can have real-time information now. So it doesn't have to be so scary, right? Like in financial investor, like we're sending out a market watch weekly, like literally you can stay up to date, money, like information is circulating. So it can just be something you keep tabs on. And if you have your strategy, it's a conversation, but it's not something scary anymore, right? Like if you know the rules, you know how it's played, and it's a bonding thing for you and your partner this Valentine's Day.
Exactly. Talk about money on the 14th.
Talk about your investment strategy as a couple.
Exactly. I love it. I'll be doing it.
Yay.
Erin and I will be doing it.
Exactly. I'll be talking to Kane about it on a plane.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely do that. That's hilarious. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk to y'all soon. And until then, enjoy your money conversations with your partnerships.
Yay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.